Yeah, so we're talking about giving the child, the option. I believe that options are very crucial in anyone's life, whether you want to attend college or whether you see yourself doing something else other than attending
Mhm.
college. Well, that's absolutely fine. So we all have our own journeys in life and our own goals that we want to fulfill, and I believe that
Absolutely.
it's for everyone. It's your own journeys and your own story. You're writing your own story, so you need to write it in the way that you desire. So as a
Absolutely.
mother, yeah, as a mother, did you have this overprotectiveness, where that this motherly instinct that you want? You're hesitant. Ruby's going to elementary school and she's going to be introduced to different types of people, a new setting, a new environment. Or do you think that, well, you want her to have the space to dive and learn about herself and live?
I've always thrown her in the mix,
Yeah.
and she's always been, we don't, treat her any different than we treated LMA. Like, she has to behave. She has to, I remember when we went into Ruby's first IEP going into kindergarten, and they were like, well, do you have any questions or concerns? And Tim was like, look, this is her daddy. I know she's cute. Don't don't let her get away with anything. Like, she needs to be treated, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she needs to, that's a good part about inclusion, is they're in this classroom filled with students that are, you know, sitting down, getting out their pen and paper, and they're doing all these things that um, sitting still, listening, reading books, things like that, where they're immersed in almost like this culture of the classroom, where they're just kind of learning the ways of life. Um, so, yeah, I mean, we've always just, I mean, we kind of, in the beginning, let her guide us, with the things that she could do. But very quickly, you know, we just realized she was just like any other kid. So, yeah, we just throw her in the mix everywhere we go.
which is
Get on out there.
exactly, which is an amazing thing to start with, because every kid have a certain set of expectations that they have to fulfill, to be disciplined, to be on task, etc. Every parent has expectations for their own children. But this, in terms of this inclusive classroom, there are some, it can result in some parents having a concern that an inclusive classroom can, in one way or another, affect the quality of education being delivered in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you find this selfish or inaccurate, to say the least? Especially because, unfortunately, it is an ever-growing concern for parents nowadays. And why do you think? Why do you think that this is even a red flag for a parent, coming from a parent yourself? Why do some parents have this mentality of fear that they don't want their child to be in an inclusive classroom because maybe the level of education is going to be interrupted? So why is this even a red flag for
Right.
parents?
I mean, that it's highly inaccurate that the level of education um, is compromised, because you can't teach compassion. You can't teach, um, you really can't teach inclusion. Like, you just got to live it. And so, as a parent of both a kid that doesn't have a disability and a kid that does, like, it's a huge, huge learning experience for LMA. She's always been, I always request her to be in the inclusion classroom. She's beautiful at it. She's been been in these classrooms forever, and she's got great, um, she, she knows when people need help. She knows how to help them in a way that is compassionate and loving. These things you just can't teach, but yet she's also learning about differences, and she's learning, that we're not all the same, and that, some people are loud and they rock in their chairs during classroom, or you know what I mean? Some people have behavior issues, and that's okay. And you know, that brings conversations at home, and we talk about those things all the time. So what I would tell a parent that might have concerns about it is that the things that they're learning in these classrooms is like the greatest life skill they'll ever learn, you know? And you just can't teach it. You got to live it. And so, you know, if you want your kid to grow up to be, you know, compassionate, loving, well-rounded, inclusive, and see the beauty in all things, then yeah, you want that. You want to be in that classroom. You know, it teaches patience, it teaches all sorts of things. So, you know, that's my 2 cents on it. But
Yeah, exactly. It gives you this priceless lesson, as you mentioned, that you wouldn't be offered anywhere else. And beautifully said. I 100% agree. You know, as a parent, you should always be an advocate for your child, no matter what. And that this comes from a perspective of acceptance, of love, of nourishment, and just tenderness. You provide your child with the correct infrastructure for them to build on their traits, their characteristics, their skills, and their mentalities. You know, and what do they believe in? What are the
right,
morals and ethics they believe in? And I believe if the parent sort of plants these seeds within the home from such a young age, it will definitely be mirrored not only in the child's personal life, but also in their experience in the classroom. You know what? As a parent, I should tell you that we live in a very diverse world, which is beautiful, and that's okay. And that's okay. And you're going to meet students from different backgrounds with different levels of understanding, different levels of needs. And this is the true essence of being human beings, is that you're going to
absolutely,
meet other people, and you know what? Welcome
right,
it. Welcome it. And that's why I agree with what you said. It all comes from the household itself, and what type of parenting you're providing for your children. And if
right,
you believe that um, your child attending an inclusive classroom would impact the education, I believe that there are other more crucial things that you should think of.